Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Roundtable Live. Joining me today, we have Andre from Midnight's Edge. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Andre tends to drop on every Monday, and that is at 9 p.m. GMT and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, we've got some interesting topics to cover, actually. We have the apparent leak of Matrix 4, the title. That's apparently leaked, and we've got some leaked images from Thor, Love and Thunder. So, welcome to the Roundtable. Andre, how you doing, good sir?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a busy week so far, and it's only Monday, so that's a good start for the week. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Just good. Just well, as I said to you just before, a bit up and down. YouTube is notorious. It's bit of a mind killer these days. So we also have someone joining us as well, esteemed guest Tom from Midnight's Edge. How you doing?
Hello. I had a third win for a little bit. I thought I'd come in for a little bit and say hi.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining. So everyone, welcome. Thanks everyone for watching. This is your sort of hangout every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're new here, you didn't know this is what's going on. It's been going on ever since the new year, actually. And we'll continue on throughout the year. I've really enjoyed doing it, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. We've got some regulars here. We've got Marty D, member of the channel. How you doing, Marty D? We've got Vasi. Actually, Vasi was the first member on the channel. Yeah, I do remember these things. And if you want to become a member, you can. You get cool little name badges, little icons next to your name. But yeah, so today we've got some interesting topics to cover. Matrix 4 title leaked. Anyone? Any guesses?
No, first, news to me.
You know what the leak was or not?
No, I don't. Is it Matrix Reborn or Retooled or?
I mean, it's pretty obvious what it's going to be, but any guess
or something?
Replugged. I like that one. Sounds like something you get at a fetish bar or something. Oh, replug you. Right. Anyway. So it is. Oh no, it's really bought Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Oh God! Oh my God! Are you fucking? Oh jeez! Like
your guesses were better.
That's the least imaginative title I can possibly. I think I've heard that before.
Now we don't know. We don't know if this is confirmed or not. It's not confirmed, but it makes sense. It makes sense. Now this was on an Instagram post by someone who does actually work on the film. So it seems to be legit, but we don't know. It was then tweeted out. Titles of The Matrix 4 has leaked online by the makeup artist who worked with the cast. The new sequel will bring back at least 2 dead characters, which we knew anyway, but doesn't have to be quite as an uninspired name, does it? Resurrection.
It should start with RE because that kind of like fits with Matrix 2 and 3, which were like reloaded and something. I forgot on a revolution or something.
Yes,
but Resurrection, like, could you find a more used direct to DVD title than that?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean,
I prefer my idea of Replugged.
Yeah, I like Replugged. I like going back into the Matrix sort of thing. People being replugged into it and coming back. I mean, there's so many things you could do with it. I mean, even just rebooted.
Well, there's never been a Resurrection that had a good movie, I don't think, in the title ever.
No, Alien Resurrection wasn't even particularly that good, was it?
No.
So that, I mean, there you go, right?
I thought it was just going to be Matrix for a while there. Because all the trailers for HBO Max, that's all it would say was just Matrix. And
well,
that's kind of how they've been doing that kind of shit. Well, yeah, but you know how they did Halloween.
Yeah.
And they always kind of do that where they'll just call it, either the or without the. Since it was originally The Matrix, I figured just Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, true. It is, I mean, look, it's uninspired. We all know that. Like, it's clues in the name, isn't it? I mean, people are coming back. Oh, we'll just call it Resurrection then. But what do you guys think in terms of this being maybe story clues outside of just the resurrection?
They might as well just call it Matrix Rebooted. Let's be real.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, the Matrix rebooted. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Especially if what we can imagine they're probably going to want to do with this is make more movies. So reboot the franchise.
I mean, the original. I mean, the original's meta. Why not be
Matrix
meta now?
Recharged.
Yeah, recharged.
Yeah, recharged. If you did, well, that would be the next one, maybe. But yeah, like all those titles would work. That's the thing. Is like, yeah, you need the re in the title, and like in this case, reboot for this first one at least seems to be the most, obvious.
Reboot makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, it's
meta, it's tongue in cheek, it's computer, it's yeah.
It's bit of a shame, I think, that one. To be fair, I think look, ultimately, it's not an indicator of what the movie's going to be like. The movie could be good, but it's just a bit uninspired, really, isn't it?
You know what? I bet you that the next one is going to be called Matrix Revelations. Which is like the other direct-to-DVD title that goes on all the time, because you have a Dracula Resurrection, Hellraiser Resurrection, Hellraiser Revelations, Halloween Revelations, the Corn Revelations, the Prophecy Revelations. I don't think there was a Halloween, but these are real titles. Yeah. You catch my drift, right?
No, I get you. Yeah.
That you have like so many ridiculous number of sequels, you're going to have ridiculous reusable titles like that, and Resurrection and Revelations are among them. I mean, I think both of them have been used in like various Resident Evil movies a couple of times as well.
Oh yes, yeah. Let's just quickly get some super chats in and see what the chat's saying, and then we'll kind of continue down this path, because I do want to dissect it and kind of talk about some of the set footage, which has actually been really decent. Neat Switch wonders if you guys have started watching The Expanse yet.
I will this week.
Okay, good. Yeah. And Tom, are you on there as well?
Not yet, but I guess I have to start this week.
Yeah.
You do. Roger Haynes sent a super sticker. I actually can't see what that one looks like, I'm afraid, but thank you so much either way. And if you want to send in your questions for the round table, please do. Super chats there. And if you want to become a member, please do.
I see somebody said Matrix 4.0 in the chat. How much you want to bet that's the title outside of the US? Like
true. That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Right? Is that they do normally do sometimes region specific titles. Could this be one of those things? Could this be one of those
like
weird
Die
things?
Hard? Because like Die Hard was Die Hard 4 was Die Hard 4.0 in other countries.
Yeah.
Even Shane White did a better one, Matrix Reborn.
Yeah, Reborn, Rebooted. Yeah, all those work better.
Yeah, and again, Heisenberg, it should have been rebooted. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Tom is right, though, that they actually do have a tendency to use like different titles in different territories. So I wouldn't be surprised if some places it's going to be 4.0 or Matrix Regurgitated at the
Brilliant. I do love that one.
That's a very honest one.
I hope the movie's good. I haven't seen the set footage. I've seen a few of the pictures.
So the set footage is actually really decent, right? The set footage is actually great, genuinely, really, really good. They've been doing a lot of stuff outside, a lot of very big action set pieces, huge things exploding, helicopters coming down, what you'd expect from a Matrix movie. And I know that sounds dumb to be like, oh, well, it's good that we're getting what we expect. But in a world where movies are going to the dogs, I want what I expect from a Matrix movie these days. I want to see what I'm expecting. Yeah. So yeah, I'm surprised you guys haven't seen any of that, because it was going all over the place.
Yeah, but we've been busy with other stuff of little importance. So,
however, one thing I will say about it is that one of the things which was sort of leaked on set footage was, this is where it starts to throw in questions on where they're going with the narrative with this, is like the look of Keanu Reeves. This is blocking.
Oh, John Wick crossover.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because surely he should be looking like his normal self when he's in the Matrix, because you project what you're supposed to look like, don't you?
Yeah, you'd think so. But,
You're sort of your inner self.
Maybe the John Wick was Neo living out another fantasy or something.
Maybe this is in the real world here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. So when you what do you mean the real world? The Matrix,
like,
or the real?
No, like this might be the real world. Like
how?
Like maybe Neo got plugged back into the Matrix or something, and John Wick is just a fantasy. Well, he came back again.
But this is what I mean. So what do you think story-wise? How do you think they're going to resurrect these people, as that is the title now? So,
I think it's going to be a ton of my... Sorry, carry on, Tom, but yeah.
Well, no, I was just going to say, honestly, I got the shortest version probably because I haven't been keeping up with this dude because I have not given a shit since the second one. Like, that movie turned me off so bad, and then the third one I watched out of obligation, and it was so much worse. That I was just like, yep. And I washed my hands of the whole fucking thing. And it's like, to me, The Matrix is one movie.
Okay.
I actually agree. I don't even remember the second. I remember there was like a cool highway chase in the second one. Something about some twins or something. But other than that, like the second and third movies. Oh, yeah. And I remember now when you talk about it, that end fight with Agent Smith or something where he's like flying around like Superman. But all in all, like the second and third movies to me are just one big blur. I don't even remember them. You say he died? Well, maybe he did. I don't have any recollection of that.
No, he gives himself over for the Source, and the Source, I think it was the Source. I don't know, but he gives himself over, and he brokers the peace, and Trinity's dead as well. So it's like, come on.
No, I've completely forgotten that because I forgot about those movies the moment I walked out the cinema, I think.
The movie's going to be about them meeting the real chosen one who's going to be some fucking chick.
Well, they've already said that. So because I have followed this and I've done quite a lot of videos on this. There's an actress that I believe she was on Iron Fist. I could be wrong, don't quote me. But she's an actress, and she was painted in terms of the character she was supposed to play was a chosen one type. It was a Neo type sort of character. So they're already saying that she is going to be that thing.
So basically, this is going the way of Terminator Dark Fate already.
Yeah, it seems it. It does seem it, but then all of the set photos have been very prominently Neo and Trinity. So I'm wondering... Hear me out. I'm wondering if this woman is the woman in the real world, and then when she plugs into the Matrix, she becomes Neo, like the Neo alter ego.
Fuck's sake.
Well, look, it's the Matrix. Why could it happen?
That's so I got you. That's probably exactly what they're going to be.
Well, that's what I mean.
Again, it's Terminator Dark Fate all over again. They already killed
you're
Neo,
right.
And you have like this other woman that's going to usurp his legacy.
It's dumb enough to be real.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, don't rule it out. Like, come on.
No, I'm not really. You're probably right.
I'm just thinking to myself, how else otherwise? When he gave himself up to broker the peace between the man and machine, because that's what it was. That's what it built towards. Man and machine coexisting, having peace between them. That was what it was. That was the end of it. So
really dumb.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sorry to bring you all down.
No, I'm sad because like the Matrix and the Animatrix promised so much.
Yeah.
And then what we got out of it was like a whole lot of nothing, and it was even worse because it was like that third movie is almost like a fucking insult to your senses.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, look, Agent Smith's great, like good character.
Of the movies.
Yeah.
I almost wish at this point it would have been a Will Smith movie. Maybe he wouldn't have never let this shit happen.
Oh, he was supposed to be. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Comrade Commissar Yuri says really off topic, but he rewatched Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'll be damned if Rodan isn't an accurate representation of Starscream. I like it, dude. I like it a lot. I like that. I'm not going to say no to that. No, definitely not.
And I'm only half kidding about the Will Smith thing before somebody starts to freaking.
Oh, careful. That's it. You're going to.
Oh,
we got some new ones. I mean, I love the super chat. I really appreciate it. Not sure I can say that. You know,
I don't think you can, but like definitely.
the Matrix retorted. We'll say that instead.
I like the other one, regendered.
Yeah.
That's too close to truth, or too close to home, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that is that. Reincarnate from Dave Savage. Marcos, Mr. H, hail the round table. Hail. Andre Tom, love Midnight's Edge. Question, Ryan Coogler, is he going to be in charge of Wakanda TV series, or Kevin Feige always has the final say? So we're going to touch on that in a minute once we're done talking about The Matrix. So bear with me, we will get to that because there's quite a lot that's been revealed recently about Marvel, which I think we will cover in this video. I just get through some of these super chats quickly. Finbar White, hi, Mr. H, Andre and Tom. When will we get the trailer for Matrix 4? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's supposed to be dropping quite soon. But
depends on when the movie comes out, yeah.
Well, the thing is, if Godzilla vs. Kong is anything to go by, they're looking like a 2-month marketing window, right? That we can say that's maybe the model that they're going to run off now.
Roughish, yeah, I'd imagine.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah, maybe 2 months before its release, which will be quite soon, basically, quite soon. Alien Spy, is Daisy Ridley playing the chosen one?
God, I hope not.
Well, look, maybe. No, it's not, but
No.
I could see it.
No.
Matrix Jasper. Hey, look. I like that one a lot. All right,
Jasper looked good in some sunglasses. There you go.
He would. He's a dude. He could pull off flying around. I actually had merch, Space Jasper merch once.
So give him a little black jacket.
Yeah, no, he was. I'll try and get the image up. It was great. No, poor Jasper. I really enjoyed the documentary on anime that was included with the Animatrix. Yeah, I mean they have kind of squandered their property here.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it all, basically, guys? What do you think's going to happen with this? Is it good or is it bad?
Well, here's the thing, though. That again, this is a movie that I think was probably going to try to push the downers from a technical perspective, and it would have blown people away on the big screen. Not going to see it on the big screen. It's going to go straight to HBO. Go straight to nice one. It's going to go straight to. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just chuckling away. It makes me laugh.
Cute doggy. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's going to go straight to HBO Max, and in so doing, it's not going to be profitable. I bet that it's going to set the stage for a new sequel, for a new trilogy. Would be my imagination. Like, you don't do all of this to do one movie. So I think the intention was to do 3, and they would probably want this one to get $1 billion in order to make the other 2. That's not going to happen. Again, it's going to be a lost leader like everything else. And now it's going to be a lost leader where all the technical stuff that they developed for the big screen is going to be completely wasted because no one's going to appreciate it on the small screen. It's obviously going to be a huge money loser, as is expected. The only thing it's doing right now is driving people to HBO Max the week that it's been released.
But do you think this will actually drive anyone to HBO Max? Let's be honest.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we got a few numbers on Wonder Woman, and they weren't good.
But they've been slamming. They've been saying that was great. People loved it. They were like, "Oh, there's been 2 billion minutes viewed," and I'm like,
they had 14 million.
Not that much.
Fucking people watch it according to the actual numbers. That ain't shit.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, that's not good at all. That's less than a lot of football games.
Let's just put it that way. If you had that number watching the movie on the big screen, it would have bombed.
Yeah,
how much is HBO Max per month?
$14.99. Here's the thing, and this is what I've said. Eventually, this will make money for them. It's a loss leader for now. But when they get to the, over 150 to 200 million subscribers like Netflix, they'll be making bank. And the theaters, they won't even worry about them because they'll be making more money off the streaming services than they ever will off the theaters. Because I look at it this way, and this is the way I keep, explaining to people, and I think makes the best sense. How many people actually go out and buy a DVD or a Blu-ray every month, let alone every few months? Most people don't.
No, but I would prefer to buy it.
You do, and we do.
No. I'd prefer to buy it and stream it, as in have a digital download.
Right. Well, regardless, whether you stream it or you buy the Blu-ray, most people don't. They just wait for it to come on Netflix or whatever. The majority of the general audience really don't.
Really? People wait for, because Netflix can take years.
If they did, then Walmart wouldn't be getting rid of them.
Wow.
And Walmart has one of the smallest DVD sections out there. Best Buy, which used to be known for going, like if you wanted a movie, that was the place to go to get it because they would have it. Not anymore. Like all Best Buy is now is like just TVs and washers and dryers and computers and shit. They hardly have anything outside of like games and stuff, which a lot of games are going away too because of the downloading. Like their game section has really been. No, I think that basically you look at it this way. Most people, like the general population, does not buy a movie every month. But let's say you get HBO Max. All the older stuff that's on there, that's just whatever to them. But if you're watching, if you're paying $14.99 a month and you watch Wonder Woman or whatever, and that's it, and some older stuff, that's money in their pocket. That's like a DVD. That's like a guaranteed DVD sale they would have never gotten before. And not only that, people normally wait until movies are a lot cheaper too to buy them. So when you're looking at it this way, you're basically slamming down $14.99 for that movie that month. Now, when they're releasing two of these movies a month, as far as like, what do you mean?
Well, so Dave Savage says, no, I don't see Tom's info to be accurate. I can't wait to see multiple movies at the cinema and buy them on disc. And I'm wondering if it's geographical. Like, I'm just wondering if it's
part of it
cultural.
is because in certain parts of the world, DVDs and Blu-rays are fine. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, I import a lot of Blu-rays because of that reason.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The general audience does not buy physical media. Now us film nerds and stuff, yes, we do. We love it.
Yeah.
We do. I'm not talking about us. I'm
talking
talking
about normies, haven't you?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the major population. If it ain't on Netflix or fucking Amazon, they just don't care.
Yep. Yeah,
and I get it. A lot of people in our audience are not going to agree because they are film. You guys are film fans, though. You don't. Yeah, I get it. It's hard to see from your perspective because you're like me. Every time you go to the store, you run to the DVD section at some point. Well, most people don't. So it's just the way it is. Yeah, I wish it wasn't that way. I really do. But if it wasn't, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Trust me. So,
but I wonder how. Guys, if you're dropping in, because we're having numbers kind of spiking now. If you didn't know what this is, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. GMT and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I live stream. I have topics to cover, and I have guests on the show as well. It's called the Roundtable Live. Today we're talking about the leak of Matrix 4. The title is Matrix Resurrections. It's already been confirmed. You've got Neo and Trinity coming back. We've seen it. It's leaked. There's been photos, set things all over the places. It's confirmed. So that's kind of what we're talking about. And obviously now we're sort of going on to Matrix 4, going on HBO Max, and the sort of financials surrounding that, and whether that will be any good for the future prosperity of it. So just to sort of bring everyone up to speed on that, who's just sort of dropping in now.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, I buy Blu-rays and DVDs all the time. Like Dan Greenfield said he bought 5 DVDs this week. No, and I get it. And even during the pandemic, DVD sales have gone up a little bit. But if you look at actual physical media sales, they have done nothing but decline for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, 4K Blu-ray has barely brought any kind of like oomph back to it. And let's put it this way, it has brought enough oomph that Disney has pretty much said fuck it. Like Disney is not releasing anything but new movies.
Yeah, but see, 4K Blu-ray can't bring that much to it because not everyone has a 4K Blu-ray player.
Well, that's the thing. Most people don't even understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But not many people can play it, Like it's
right
just
between
think,
playing it and then just the idea of what people even understand between DVD and Blu-ray and 4K. So
yeah.
And again, I understand people in the chat are just like me. They buy a lot of movies. I do too, but the average person does not. So that's just the way it is.
So what do you think that this signifies, generally speaking, for the future of the franchise? Like, I mean, I'm let's have a look at the numbers that they used to make Matrix, because I thought they did pretty well, to be honest.
Oh, the movies all did pretty well. I think the third film had a little bit of a decline, but
the movies did amazing.
I was gonna say, I think the
first one made 465.
Yeah. Well, the first one was a surprise hit.
It's insane.
Yeah. It did almost as well as Star Wars, which was crazy because it came out around the same time.
Matrix Reloaded made 741.8 million. Christ.
Yeah, I was just say, I think the second one did better, actually.
Yeah, well, 700.
Yeah, of course, because that was growing off of the hype of the first one.
Well, and not only that, speaking of physical media, The Matrix was the first major selling DVD. Like, that was another thing that pushed the sequel.
Yeah, well, I remember, didn't they use it on all of the DVD adverts, right when they were trying to move from VHS? I swear they did.
Yep. Yeah, it was a big pusher of the format. Like, it was the highest selling DVD probably until I think Avatar or something like that came down the road, or Shrek, something like that probably. I mean, you had a point there where like almost everything was breaking records, but that's just because everybody was finally getting DVDs.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, because Matrix was one of the first ones. And I remember because like I had to update all my players to play the son of a bitch because it kept freezing because it was so advanced at that time. Like now it's like quaint, but like at that time it was very advanced for the menus and all that shit.
So I think ultimately, like it's not going to do well, is it? Like it's
no,
going
you have
to
a
be
problem now. Is it's been what? How many years since the last one?
Matrix
that no one cares anymore.
2003.
3? I was gonna say 5, but it's only wow. So it's literally been almost 20 years.
I mean, that's crazy.
I see interest in it, but here's the thing: as far as it being any good, it depends on how much what's their face has anything to do with it. Whichever Wachowski's still around, unless they're just around
it's Lana Wachowski.
Yeah, unless they're just around for posterity. Because let's look at it this way: how many good movies have the Wachowskis made?
Well, not that many recently.
Just in general,
not that many. Period.
That's my point. Like they don't exactly have the greatest track record in the world. They have like one, maybe 2 good movies.
One or two. One being the original Matrix, and
the Heavenly Creatures or whatever the hell that movie was called.
I guess Bound had its moments.
Bound, that's what I was thinking of. Bound, yeah. So outside of those,
I guess that might have had its moments, but
like that was the movie that put him on the map originally.
I don't know if I remember.
And I guess if you like the second Matrix, I guess they have 3.
Yeah.
Out of how many movies have they made now? Because I couldn't stand Speed Racer. I'm sorry, it was fucking trash.
Did they do Swordfish?
They did Swordfish.
Did they?
They did. That's news to me.
I remember that being all right. I mean,
I don't remember them doing Swordfish.
Did they do Swordfish?
No, Swordfish was decent enough, but I don't think that had anything to do with them.
I want to say like Guy Ritchie or something like that directed Swordfish. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it's Dominic Sena.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, okay. Or maybe he's thinking of the DVD adverts, because I remember they used Swordfish on the DVD.
Oh
adverts.
well, yeah. It just whatever was popular at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not holding out much hope unless it's completely written by somebody else and they're just he, she, there, them, whatever is just there to not to piss anybody off.
It's just PC, there, mate. Come on.
I'm trying. It's just there to I don't know, for whatever fucking reason. Just to be an executive producer, a name on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you got to take it away from them at this point.
It'll be interesting to see how it pans out anyway, I think. But undoubtedly it's not going to do particularly well.
They produced V for Vendetta. Well, they had a
producing, just dropping some money in there. I mean, it could.
That's not only that, it's not like they came up with V for Vendetta either. Like that'd be different. No. They came up with the Matrix. I mean,
they were in the running to.
You'll set all the conspiracy theorists off about that bloody movie being.
They actually wanted to co-direct King Conan: Crown of Iron with John Milius back in the early 2000s.
All right.
Yeah. No, it never happened. But John Milius Conan, he was never going to direct that on his own. He was going to co-direct with the Wachowskis.
Now, they say in the chat there, Real Don with Tom. Oh, that Tom Conkle's in the chat. What the hell, man? He says all the second unit guys is being done by John Wick's people. So if that's true, then that means maybe Keanu has a lot more say over this one. Then maybe it's in better shape.
Maybe.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope.
Because if his production company is all over it, then you know.
And greetings, Tom Conkle, if you're listening.
Yeah. We haven't been able to talk for a while. He's been busy.
Greetings.
I don't think you've ever met him. Yeah.
No, I've not. So I'm just like, yeah, cool. Hello.
He's a filmmaker. Actually, he's been in a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm always interested in talking to filmmakers, to be honest. VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray. After a certain point, can the human eye recognize and/or differentiate the quality of the medium being used? There's definitely arguments for that. I do think you can tell 4K, like for sure.
Oh hell yeah!
Having edited 4K, like and rendered it in 1080p and 4K, I'm like, oof. 1080p.
Yeah. On 8K, however, there you can kind of like question if it's useful. You have to be on like a really freaking big screen before you can tell the upgrade from 4K to 8K.
And/or it all depends on what your source is.
Yeah.
Yes. True.
Of course.
Because
But the 8K to me seems like a freaking scam because you have to have like 100 with a good source. You have to have like 100-inch screen before you are able to even remotely tell the difference between 4K and 8K. Because again, then there you go to what the human eye can actually spot.
4K is good enough. Now that I've seen film, like decent films in 4K. Like, I mean, I can't go back, and I hate up converted shit. There's
it's not.
Honestly, I think that 1080p is pretty good enough. I mean, 4K can be even better, but again, for like say a 50-inch TV, the upgrade from 1080p to 4K. Is it worth it at the 50-inch screen?
It depends on bigger. It all depends on your viewing area, what you do for your viewing. Again, I will fight for any film that is shot on film or mastered in 4K deserves to be seen in 4K. Because after seeing things like everything from like 2001 to, what's some of the more recent films that have actually been done in film, like even the Nolan films that were done. I may not like all of them, but they look great. So I mean, as somebody as an aficionado as I am, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know.
You can definitely tell if you have a big enough viewing, to see, you can tell the difference between.
Definitely.
Govinda Singh here says at 50 inches there is a massive difference. Yeah, there really is. I mean, the bigger, like if you watch it on your phone, like it's really it's not, it's negligible. You can still tell a difference. It's definitely, but it's negligible.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is 480p on your phone is basically the equivalent of like 1080p on a regular TV.
Yeah,
that's the thing, because it's such a small viewing area.
Yeah.
So I mean, Andre is correct. Like, if anything, theaters would be best to invest and look into the 8K technology, but they didn't even want to spend the money to project standard shit at fucking full, because they didn't want to spend. Because that's one thing I hated. I don't know how it is outside of the U.S., but in the U.S., that was one of their ways of cutting costs. Is they'd turn down the bulbs by like 25%. So
really?
yeah, and everything's always dark.
Oh, good. That is just what you want.
Yeah, so unless you go see something like IMAX or something like that, it's horrible.
Mm.
And also, here's like the thing. Someone mentioned in the chat, Graham Taylor says, my eyesight sucks, so none of it bothers me.
I mean,
Here's like the thing. If you don't have 20/20 vision, honestly, 1080p is probably good enough for you.
Yeah.
But then again, you could also say that maybe the more clarity of the resolution, it might help you see it better. I don't know. I mean, it all depends on what's wrong with your eyesight too.
Yeah, you can say that, but unless you're watching at 100-inch screen, it's only something you say. It's not going to have any real significance.
Again, like I can't. You're viewing. I can't argue anybody's viewing. Habits or how they view a movie. I mean, another thing though I'll notice though, the problem is a lot of times I see people say, well, I don't see a difference. Most people don't even have their TVs set up fucking right to begin with.
No, true. Because it's not just, you don't just switch it on and let it go. Like you have to change the colors, and there's quite a lot that you adjust.
First things first, turn off the motion smooth shit.
Yes, yeah. But it's also how to get the correct blacks to come out from the black part of any footage. Because too often they become sort of washed out and sort of or like almost grayed out. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh yeah,
when you see like a night sky and things like that.
You lose the different shades between gray and black, and that's a lot of detail lost right there.
Yeah.
Well, that's where 4K's high dynamic range comes in, and that's there's where the argument can be made for like 2K up converts, which I don't. There's barely a difference at times to where the HDR makes a difference there. But now it does make a difference on film and other films because, that's where they'll figure the lowest black and the highest high of the white. And then they'll calibrate it from there. And they even go by sunlight and shit. And if it's calibrated correctly, your 4K TV can throw off enough light that it should almost be as strong as like if you have a good enough picture, the sunlight will look like real, like it'll be that bright. Like there's been some good masterings. Like I guess if your TV's calibrated correctly, like The Martian was shot in 5K, the Ridley Scott film, and there's a bunch of shots where like the reflections and stuff off the helmet. Like one guy was telling me, like in Bill Hunt's review, he was like, "Yeah, it damn near blinded me. Like I was outside looking at something. You catch that reflection off, glass, and you're like." You get the floaties. He's like, yeah, I got floaties from watching the movie because of how high bright it was. Yeah. So if they do it right, it's calibrated correctly, it's done well, then yeah.
Need Switch drops on and says, I'm outing myself. I liked all 3 movies. I had some issues with the sequels, but still found them enjoyable. That said, what are your biggest issue with these movies as far as you watched them? Well, the first one's great. The first one's a genuinely great film. I really, really like it. I actually went to watch it for its whatever it was anniversary in theaters, and it was great to watch it in theater again. To be able to do that, it was fantastic. It was, it holds up. Like it's great. Yeah, some of the effects are wonky, but who cares? Like it's a good film. But they really do descend in quality from there massively, and I think it's just, I think they succumbed to, they drank their own Kool-Aid at that point. They were like, right, let's just go balls to the wall. Like, I mean, we're talking about, we talk about the second one and the highway chase scene. They built a highway for that, as far as I remember. I'm fairly certain they built their own highway to do that. And it's just, as much as
they did build their own highway for it.
It just became too much. They didn't focus on the story because there is a good story, but they just, I don't know. I really can't put my finger on it, but they descended in quality so much that the story wasn't there. They drank their own Kool-Aid too much. I think that they relied way too much on CG, like rubber band men running around. Like Christ, some of that CG is atrocious. That courtyard fight scene when they transition from actual fighting to CG is awful transition. So maybe. Maybe a victim of the times when people were doing CG for everything. I don't know. But there's a rough overview anyway, guys.
I think it's a clear example of more money does not make a better story, and like them, because they spent, I think, what, 3 times what the first film cost on those second one and third one, because they filmed them together.
Yeah,
and then plus they had a bigger budget. I mean, but you're right. Like the effects were not up to snuff. It doesn't feel like they had nearly the direction the first film had. Because like it clearly, like you watch that first movie and it's like, okay, you can kind of see where this is going.
Yeah,
and it's like just because they wanted to subvert our expectations, I guess. Sometimes that isn't always the best thing to do. Obviously, I mean, I don't like the term subversion of expectations anyway, because subversion in and of itself is not a good thing. But
no,
I mean, that's what it felt like to me. I mean, that's the earliest kind of example of I can feel like it's like prototypical Last Jedi in a weird way. Because I mean, that second movie is just a lot of fluff. Let's be real. It's what, 2 big fights and nothing really happens. And then the third film is just a bunch of convoluted shit. Like, I really don't even know if they know what the hell the third film means by the end of it. And like you saying him becoming part of the main, like, okay, I don't even remember that shit. All I remember is him bringing what's-her-face back to life. And then,
Trinity.
Yeah, I literally seen this third film, I think, once. Maybe.
Andre?
I would say that the problem with the second and the third film is that they probably shouldn't have been made. The first movie was a completely standalone story, and then you did some too tacked on things just to create more money to finish a story that really didn't need finishing. And the problem with that is that they made a super duper weak story that was rushed together and tacked on because they didn't have a real story. And the end, and that's kind of like the thing, that the story is so weak that I don't remember it for the life of me. I can't tell you what the story in the second and the third movie is.
The third movie was the war was coming, and they had the war.
It was set in the real world,
No, but
basically.
It's not just a matter of that I've forgotten. I remember when I walked out of the cinema, I couldn't tell you what it was about. It was that unimpressive. It did nothing to me. And then all of the effects that melted your brain was completely pointless and a waste, because the reason it worked so well in the first one is because you were hooked by a story, and then you could be really taken in by the effects. But when you're not taken in by the story, then it's just crap on screen. And that's really all the second and third movie amounted to. Yeah, the highway chase was nice, but beyond that, it was just crap on screen. And the only other time when I've had that experience was in Pirates of the Caribbean. The first movie was fantastic. The second and third, which were also filmed back to back, just like The Matrix, and also around the same time, a few years later, but still around that general time frame. I couldn't tell you what happened in the second and third one as well, even after I walked out of the screening room.
That's a pretty good example. Or
I see them as pretty much the same thing. Like The Matrix 2 and 3 is like the same thing as Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3. Yeah. I can't for the life of me tell you what the hell they were about.
Just a very apparent cash grab, I guess, is the best way to describe them.
Well, what's sad is there's so many great ideas that are presented in the Animatrix, and like it does a great job setting up how they got there. So like I think when the movie ends the way it does, I felt the most disappointed, because it was like, you know, I thought it should have had a much clearer, like, we defeat the machines kind of ending to it. Like, I mean, I don't care how you got there, I guess, necessarily, but just the way it ended was just too convoluted. And then I don't care. I hate overblown CGI bullshit. Like, one of the reasons why I have such a hard time saying like Rise of the Skywalker or Revenge of the Sith is so great is because of that fucking 45-minute fight at the end. Like, after the first 3 minutes, I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't. It's too long.
Let me just get us some super chats real quick, and then we shall let our guest in, who is sat there real briefly. I sent you. I see you sent.
Sorry, I didn't know he was waiting.
Invite. How do I know and you don't? You sent the bloody invite out. God damn.
Well, I don't know when he's showing up.
Do you not? Can you not see that?
No, we don't. We only get to see our stuff.
Oh, okay. Hold on then. Marshmallow for £25 says, long story short, software cannot work without the hardware, like owning an electric car without the charging station or infrastructure. Will the lay user group invest in future tech, which becomes overly convoluted? But the thing is, future tech isn't for everyone. Like, it's actually only for a very small minority. And that's why part of this, not to get too sort of way off topic with movies, but it makes a lot of sense, is that the lay user, they can't afford it. It's why the green revolution's not going to, it can't work without massive government funding, to actually buy people's stuff so they can go and buy the stuff which is more eco-friendly. Not everyone can afford these things, like an electric car. Like you say here, it's just not possible. And it's the same thing with this ever-increasing, ever-moving, flowing technology with viewing things, 4K, 6K, 8K. Like, not everyone can afford the TVs, so they don't become standard. There's no reason producing the high-end product to suit those screens when only a very small minority has them. They will eventually. That's what happens. It's the trickle-down effect. But just real quickly as well, Jack, member of the channel, thank you so much, dude. Number of trailer views often indicates how the movie will do. GVK now has 49 million views. Jesus. That's insane.
Imagine how well that would have done if things had been as they once were and it could go in theaters. It would have been the movie of the year.
I think that would have potentially been $1 billion at that point, I think. And let's see how the Matrix 4 trailer does. Yeah, good. Really, really good point. I think that'll be one of the things. When it drops, maybe we can do a live stream and sort of talk about it and review it. Wonder Woman 84 did poor on HBO Max. Then how will GVK do for the HBO Max?
Probably
49 million views. I think it's probably going to be good, to be honest.
Pretty good.
If that's anything to go by. But let's bring in our guest, a chap that I actually don't know who they are. So how are you?
Mr. H, I'm actually a big fan of yours. I was watching this and I saw these two on it and I thought, well, I have to jump in. It's a pleasure. Thank you for being gracious and letting me be an interloper.
No, I'm always happy to have guests on. This is what this is. This is the round table. It's better with friends, better with guests.
Absolutely.
So, makes it more interesting.
Andre are fantastic. They've been very supportive and we've had some really interesting discussions about film and technology of film.
Yeah, of course.
Brief introduction to
Let me introduce both you, Mr. H, and the audience to Mr. Tom Conkle, filmmaker, frequent guest over at Midnight's Edge and our live streams. Someone that with real working experience from the industry. It's made a ton of movies. Trouble is My Business is the one you absolutely should check out. Thank you. Beyond that, Tom, take it away. Tell me about yourself.
Oh, just finally the world is starting to come back. I'm flying out to Atlanta the end of this week to shoot something. So this is a very good sign for production in general that it seems like the world's coming back and we're starting to figure out a methodology of filming. I do have, a lot of projects out. I'd love for people to check out. They're available on most of the streaming platforms and huge advocate of physical media. I'm a physical media guy because I don't like the idea that someone can come by my library and go, that book, okay, that license is over. That goes away. I was trying to show somebody The Great Race with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon and literally could not find it anywhere. Like if I hadn't had it on disc, it would be like, what? What?
Yeah,
so I hate the idea that libraries can cease to exist because streaming is not an archival format. So it really renders the whole 4K, 6K thing a matter to taste. Is that if you have the equipment to support it, you're always going to have a more archival quality copy of the film, one that's not at the mercy of its distribution or its licensing, but also you're going to see color depth, you're going to see a level of detail in the image that you simply can't get because so many pieces of pipe have to have that data pushed through it in order to get a streaming copy that, frankly, most people are not that discriminating, but someone who really loves film, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, and I'm an advocate, but I'm just a realist at the same time. I see the trends. I know where it's going. I know what they're up to. I've seen it for years. I've been trying to tell people. And now I feel like the guy who's been running through the streets going, "You're all doomed," and nobody's been listening to me for not, And now I'm just telling you the way it is. It's like it's fucking dead, folks. You killed it. No,
I know.
not the people listening.
Look for the dart in the back of the
I
head. There's a big dart that everyone's being controlled. Yeah.
No, and studios are helping it along. Don't get me wrong, but the general audience just does not have the room for it, and they don't want to deal with the bulky discs and all that crap. And for them, streaming is just fine and dandy.
Absolutely.
And if they can't find it on Netflix, they don't care.
Yeah, if you get them to buy it every time you watch it, I think Andre and you were talking about something too. It's like, even when you buy it on Amazon, you don't own that film.
Nope.
You own it as long as they decide you own it.
As long as the thing exists as well. I mean, I don't mind downloading stuff. I'm happy to download stuff. But Blu-rays
downloading too is the regional player. I've gone on location and I've bought something in the US, gone to Canada, and it says, "Sorry, this player will not play this content," and I owned it.
Well, just
that's
as
why
a quick heads up, I'm releasing my film come April. I'll let you all know. It's being released in April.
Yeah.
And those that want to actually have a physical copy, there will be a pre-sale for the physical copy Blu-ray region unlocks, and it'll be available. So that was bloody hard to do that.
It is.
Are you Blu-rays out?
A made-on-demand provider for physical?
So like authoring it all, and so you got to go. Menus and ISO files and all that. But you know what? It's great that you're doing it as physical media. I think it's super important, and there is still a market. With Trouble Is My Business, I have it on Blu-ray and DVD, and I would say a quarter of my business is still physical. Oh, that's good.
But unfortunately, that's a good number. Basically, what the whole business is. Unfortunately, 25% of the business now. That's a sad part of it, and it used to be a much larger portion. And it's funny you brought up libraries. I know you weren't talking about the actual libraries you go to get books from, but the ones that you actually go to get books from now are part of the reason as well, because a lot of libraries have basically turned into DVD repositories. So like you just go and everybody can get whatever they want now from their library. And that's another reason why physical media is suffering.
Yeah. Well, they have a thing called Canopy, I think, which you use your library card to stream videos. Because I have a couple of my films.
Oh boy, I haven't even heard that.
Yeah. Canopy, you use your library card and you get it. But I even looked at the quality. Like I shot native 4K and down-resed it to 2, because often you'll shoot a film in a higher resolution so you can physically reposition the frame. Like you could, if I'm shooting green screen and there's stuff around the edges, you can kind of pop it in. But when you see it on these streaming things, it's 1080. So, all the attention that I put to, especially in film noir, it's like all these things in the black just go bloop, and they're gone. It's a face and black, It's interesting. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add for the whole Matrix 4 situation? What do you think about that? Did you catch the title that's leaked?
What is the title now? What do they call
Resurrections.
it? Resurrection. Staying with the R's, alliteration style. I saw them shooting some of it.
Looks good, doesn't it? Like the outside stuff looked great.
Looked great, and Lana did turn in a script solo. They're not writing as a duo anymore, and she's directing. But I was heartened that they went back to Chad and all the guys that did John Wick. And originally the gimmick was that John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 were coming out on the same day, and which I thought was just brilliant. But then that got screwed up. But I know that team is very involved and frankly directing a great deal of it because it's so action oriented that the second unit is almost a second first unit. So Lana being more concerned with conceptual and philosophical things, and the guys that did John Wick going, let's make sure we kick ass as well. I think it could be good. Keanu's in top form as far as being a performer, and he commits to it. No one wants to go to a movie and have it be bad. It's difficult you never step in the same river twice. So 20 years later, it's going to be different. Our expectations will be different. We're different watching it, so it may be surprising as an exercise to revisit them. Hopefully they don't just retread what they did brilliantly in the first film, because the first film was amazing. A philosophical kung fu sci-fi thing was a terrific idea. But Matrix 4, I remain hopeful only because of the quality of the people that I know are working on it. But that is no insurance against, the alchemy not being there. And they've had tremendous difficulty finishing it. They literally have been shooting off and on for over a year.
What can you tell us about that?
About the shoot?
Yeah, about the shoot and the difficulties that they've had finishing it.
Well, I mean, as soon as the protocols came in, and as soon as we, had the pandemic, if I can say that, had come in, we saw a stoppage of all production work. Which what that means is, it sounds like everyone just sort of stops and goes on, but what really happens is you're working with teams of artists and heads of departments that have committed to 3 films, 4 films in a row. So you have a window that you have them. So like the art department and the continuity with that, if that goes down for 6 months, well, they've committed to the next thing on the 7th month. So if your film's gone for 4 or 5 months, now you have one team saying, okay, I'm handing off this idea to this other team. You guys finish it. You do this. You might lose a DP. You might lose key people because people need to eat, or they'll take a job outside. And it's like, okay, we're back up, but we don't have the lighting team that we had before. So the difficulties really become like, it's like moving a small army when you do a film. I've done nothing on the scale of something like that, but I have done effects heavy films. And literally you are shooting it first in the script, first on location, and then again in post. So you can imagine the difficulties, Andre, of a effects heavy film where there are considerations that you can't have the asset leave to somebody's tabletop for piracy concerns, for IP concerns. You have to figure out how to make everybody that would be in one building making that film work on it in 15, 20 different locations, all on different computer setups and platforms. You can imagine how much that slows things down. And also, there is something different. When I was working on a soundtrack with someone, there's a difference between standing behind the composer and being able to pat him on the back and go, that's it, that's the sound we want, that's what we want to do, versus getting on a Zoom call and going, okay, play it back, let me hear it. Yeah, that sounded real good. What are you doing right now? Yeah, what instrument is that? It's a completely different way of experiencing a film. And they're all doing it that way. There's no choice.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a difference.
There's a good question in the chat about why Lawrence Fishburne isn't included. Does anybody know the answer to that?
So they're thinking that there's going to be a young Lawrence Fishburne, which will be played by Yahya Abdul.
I've heard that as well. Like, it doesn't make sense to have him in it because they have another version.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Weird.
Maybe they will, do some sort of deep faking onto someone else. Who knows? But
so weird.
Yeah. I hope not.
I hope not too.
Speaking of productions, in the title, we are going to be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. So we've got some new set photos. So they are deep in production with this now, or at least they've just started.
$10 says AC/DC's on the soundtrack.
Probably. James.
Probably, but this one's an interesting one to take a look at because it's quite comic accurate costumes this time. No, it's not. This is just a quick kind of look through of what we're seeing on set.
His brother, yeah.
And it looks
the same commercial agency as me. He's the sweetest guy.
Oh well, that's good.
Sean Gunn, he's terrific.
Yeah. But he gets a lot of work, doesn't he? So he clearly knows.
Oh yeah, I met them a long time ago when they were doing web series. They did this web series. It was called PG Porn. It was porn without the sex. Yeah, and we both were nominated in the comedy category, and I got to meet him. Super nice guy. And
I need to find this now and mess with Rob's head.
Yes, you do.
Jesus.
There's one.
So I'll send you this.
Nail gun. The one with the nail gun is brilliant. It's porn without the sex.
I'll be like, here, Rob, watch this porn, and he'll be like, but it has no porn in it.
Exactly. Brilliant.
He'll be like so mad at me.
Yeah, you know what? I think they've been calling it As Guardians of the Galaxy has been.
Well, that's what the third Guardians film I think is being called. This is the Thor.
Yeah, this is the precursor to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
I think the as finished film that a few years ago that James Gunn took a picture of like, here it is, finished the Guardians 3 script. I think that's being retroactively modified because everything has had to slide.
Yes.
Obviously, there's been slippage. And some of the ideas from that might migrate into the Thor movie because they may make more sense in this timeline.
Probably.
So it will be interesting to see, how Taika takes, Gunn's ideas and runs with them. They're both very comedic, very visual guys. So I think they'd make a really interesting duo to be in a room with, and just shoot ideas.
Funnily enough, in the past, Gunn has been one of the few directors who's been given I don't know if I'd call it carte blanche, but like I know like when they had the Guardians involved in Infinity War and Endgame, he was involved in their aspect.
Yes.
To make sure
on set helping direct.
Yeah, to make sure that their parts seem to be in tune with but that was the other thing was Feige had said that he wanted James Gunn to oversee the cosmic side of the Marvel universe. So
that's right.
That's kind of in line with that.
To hand it to him back when the whole Twitter controversy came in. He was just about to get handed the reins of it, and then the whole Disney thing happened and they went backwards. Unfortunately, they woke up and went, what are we thinking?
Yeah. Well, at that point, I was starting to wonder, like, okay, well, if Gunn's taking that over, I wonder what Feige's going to be up to.
And
Star Wars, maybe?
Anyone's picture from college will get you fired. So let's not, judge people by what they were doing 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. People change, don't they?
Yeah, people change, and if they're repentant, you have to have a reason for people to be repentant. If you say, "Look, I was stupid. I was trying to get attention and do things, and that's not me anymore," we have to allow for growth.
Yeah. Well, people have forgotten the art of an apology and accepting an apology these days. It just seems like it's make or break. You are this and you are that,
or context and all that other stuff too. But no, I'm kind of looking forward to a point now more so than I was Thor: Love and Thunder, because before that I was kind of like meh. Because I think love Ragnarok, but
I think the focus being on Jane Foster seems to put a lot of people off. But I mean, the first photos that we're seeing, Jane Foster's literally nowhere to be seen. There's more photos, by the way. I've just spot selected these because they show more of the cast, but she's nowhere to be found in any of them. And again, it's not to say that this is indicative of the final product. This is just them shooting, and they've managed to get some photos.
I hope it's more than a cameo.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I think the costumes are funny. Like already, you can see like it's. I mean, it's got an off-kilter feel.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's it could be good. I mean, look, I've got hope. I like Taika Waititi. I think he's a very, very good director.
I do too. He's smart. He's very smart.
Yeah, and I mean, I get his sense of humor.
That series kills me. What we do in the shadows, brilliant.
Yeah. So I've got hope for this. But I mean, let's see what the chat's saying. Jack is actually dropped on with the super chat, talking again tech things. I'm always happy to do, by the way, guys. I do like talking about tech. Having shot in 4K RAW, it's a very interesting experience. It is very interesting. Here, Sony will be the first to offer true 4K high bitrate streaming from Bravia TV. I only buy physical disc if the movie is great. Blade Runner 2049 was my last. Yeah, I love that film. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very underrated. Sense of scale was there.
The world building. It was so casual about how otherworldly it was. It was just brilliant. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think Blade Runner 2049 is one not only to watch, and it's such a shame because it was so good, but you had to watch it in the big screen, and not many people did because the score was another character. It was another character of that movie. It was fantastic.
I still listen to it. I write to that music. I still put it on, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put on some of that. You know what? The irony here is what's going to happen with Blade Runner 2049, I think, will be a reevaluation exactly as long as it took people to like Blade Runner. Yeah. And they'll be like, that was pretty good. It's a shame.
Let's make another one.
Yeah, let's make another. It's been 25 years.
They made this time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make the same mistakes.
I think the
world is not ready for what you have to offer.
I think Blade Runner 2049 was one of the few movies where it was filmed in 5K with the red cameras or whatever they're called, and then
You're right, Tom.
It was mastered in 4K. But yeah, that's the thing. You just got to and there's places you can go online to check if you're curious. Basically, if anything's old enough to be done on film, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it.
You're right.
Outside of the rare occasion where they'll do some strange digital, like whatever, but like no. Otherwise, if it's a newer film, do yourself the homework. You can save yourself the money. If it's an upconvert, you're probably not gonna notice that much of a difference, unless you have a huge fucking TV, I guess. And even then, it's still an upconvert.
Yeah, it's still an upconvert. And let's face it, Avengers was finished in 2K. I mean, it's a.
That's
2K.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's a you know.
Well, they Avengers used the Blackmagic little square cameras in all of the vehicles and things like that around.
Like the Ursa, was it? What, I don't know what it was.
I can't remember what they're called. They're just they are quite literally. It's a lens and a square unit,
like a GoPro.
That's all it is, kind of, but
like a crash
bigger.
cam.
I mean, it's a cinema camera, but it's this tiny little thing. We got one super chat drops in, and I've got to address this because there's people in the chat. Former stage Shin Ultraman, you're welcome. I've got the trailer reaction, but it's been copyright claimed and blocked, so I can't release it. But I thought it was great.
Blocked, not just claimed. Wow.
No. So blocked worldwide. So obviously you get copyright claims, and that's fine. You can fight them.
Yeah.
But Toho blocked the trailer reaction worldwide, which is, I mean, look, it's fine. It's how it is. I just replied. I said, I'll dispute the claim, and said, hey, look, I'm actually trying to promote your film. Please release it. But it means that no one can see my trailer reaction, and it's probably going to be it'll be like 30 days plus another 30 days, and you're not going to see it. But I really liked it. Have anyone else seen the Shin Ultraman trailer?
No,
I haven't.
First
but I'm interested in hearing about it now. Like, I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
It's going to be like horror-ish, like Shin Godzilla. If so, I'm interested.
No, yes, and no. So a few things just to say straight off the bat is that. Amazingly, we've just had the figures from Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, right? Like nearly 40 million now, yeah? Shin Ultraman trailer released on the 27th. It hasn't even had 2 million views. Like, they're just not promoting it enough. I don't understand why no one's seen it. Not even 2 million views is a travesty. That is blasphemy. It's what I find really interesting about the Shin Ultraman trailer is they're very much going hand in hand with the Shin Godzilla. So quite a look at the political spectrum of it, how the government's handling things, what's going on. Like, you can see it. It's only a 30-second teaser, but they focus on that heavily. And that was good. Like, I quite enjoyed that about Shin Godzilla. It's interesting. You know, how did the humans react to this, and the interpersonal politics of the situation? What's mankind going to do? I like that. I think that's interesting. And it's interesting that it's a thread that they're keeping up. Cool. Now, the monsters in it, interesting choice. Very bright primary colors. And at first I was a bit like, oh, what's going on there? But on second thought, I actually think it's very, very smart. Really, really smart. Because when right at the end of the teaser trailer, we see Ultraman stand up, and he's bright. He's got that bright, vibrant red. And I was thinking to myself, well, if you had this big, bright, vibrant Ultraman going up against, say, the Pacific Rim original kaiju that were dark, dour, and grey, it wouldn't look right. You know, primary colors versus greys, it would just be too much of a clash. So they brightened up the kaiju to fight up against Ultraman, and I think it works really, really well. It's different.
Yeah, it's have a color palette like that. It also differentiates it from all the other, everything's gray, everything's whatever. It's like have it be a little poppy is kind of more in keeping with the genre anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I quite liked it. I'd recommend anyone go and watch it because it needs more views, and it's a good bit of fun. Neat Switch says, who could be the villain? Or who could the villain be? Not actor. I think that isn't Christian Bale supposed to be the villain of Thor: Love and Thunder?
I believe so. If I'm not, was it? Yeah, Christian Bale, wasn't it?
I thought it was Christian Bale who's the God Killer, right?
Yeah. Well, there you go then. Done. There's a villain. Apparently,
that works.
I got something juicy here.
I'll go on then.
Here's a bit of the review from Entertainment Weekly for Alex Kurtzman's Clarice series, if you're interested.
Oh my god, yeah, this should be fun.
Drop it on, yeah, please.
Yeah, we know it's going to be horrible.
Get ready, because this is funny because EW is normally one of the,
Oh, they love that stuff normally.
Woke papers.
Yeah.
This is just a blurb of it, but why bother? Clarice's other co-creator is Alex Kurtzman, a practice IP hack known for Transformers, various Star Trek, a failed Mummy, and the worst Spider-Man. That's a lot of money made off of other people's originality. It's like, dude, God fucking wrote this thing. Can't we?
Holy
Tom,
shit.
did you write this? You wrote this.
No, this is Entertainment Weekly. Can we institute some kind of limit on this stuff? Like maybe a person who can only work in 4 pre-existing universes per decade. His participation makes Clarice feel even more like a dastardly act of franchise capitalism. I'd believe you if you told me Alex Kurtzman was planning a Buffalo prequel series or a something it's covered up shit procedural where Clarice Starling's dad solves 60s crimes, or throwback procedural. There it is. Throwback procedural crime where Clarice. Oh my God, they fucking ravaged his ass.
So they liked
Wow.
it. They really
Okay,
liked it.
Tom, you got to send me this article because I think we have tomorrow's editorial ready here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if I can find the actual. This is just somebody's clip of it. Let me see if I can find the actual article, the actual review.
That is savage.
Yes, that is savage for Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah,
It's like,
Holy
for
hell.
Entertainment Weekly,
Yeah.
they love all
That's
that
like
stuff.
being savaged by Highlight Magazine. I mean, it's like, that's just, wow. Amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal, right
It
there.
sounds like
That's,
Doomcock wrote it. That's what I'm saying. Like, holy shit.
Somebody's tired of his nonsense.
Evidently, like whatever he had before this has gone.
Jesus.
Here,
Well, only goes to show that.
here's the headline: Clarice doesn't have any brains worth chewing. Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh man. It
Well,
embarrassed itself right away. Holy shit, that's the first line.
The honeymoon is over.
Wow.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
That's
Let me find
unreal.
Well, he's really an example of falling upward. I mean,
Oh,
He
yeah.
is.
in Hollywood, it's like
Jesus.
you go from failure to failure and you're reprocessing whatever IP someone has, and he sort of does it, and then they forget he didn't do that good a job. And he's like, well, didn't he do Spider-Man? Give him that, and that's just falling upward, and
I'm
you reach
trying
the
to
level
find
of
that
incompetence.
blurb. I can't find that specific blurb, but it's just ripping it apart. Holy
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that
wasn't
personal.
he? Was he the writer on the Mummy? Wasn't he the new one?
shit.
He was the director.
He
He was
directed
the director of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I swear he wrote it as well because I remember that
of
movie.
course he wrote it too.
I almost walked out of that movie. I was so.
And you were an
so-
in-flight movie, and you almost walked out. That's
It was so they got the God of Death wrong.
yeah.
How do you get the God of Death
That's
wrong?
Yeah. Clearly, he wrote it.
Yeah. A story by John Spates and Alex Kurtzman.
There you go.
Oh God, I remember that. I was just like, you are just the worst kind of.
Okay, here it is.
Just Google it, mate.
Holy shit.
God of Death, Egypt.
Here you go. I'm sending this to you in the Facebook.
No, send it to me on the messenger.
Probably
Yeah.
was like Star Trek, where they could only use like 40% Egyptian mythology, so they had to change
Yeah.
another 60%.
Oh, this is
They
actually
don't want to
work.
pay Egypt.
Yeah, we can't use Set. What else do we have? Yeah,
Oh, if you're talking about Clarice, they can't use Hannibal.
they can't.
No, they can't. They can't because
Why
it
did
has
they
to do with the
pick-
creation of the rights. This actually started with the books because the first book to be written was Red Dragon. That was the original book in which Hannibal Lecter was introduced.
Right.
And the rights for that were picked up by the Dino De Laurentiis corporation, and in so doing, they picked up the perpetual rights to every single character that was introduced in it. And then Thomas Harris made the second novel, The Silence of the Lambs. And the Dino De Laurentiis Corporation, they weren't around anymore at that time, at least not in the earlier form. So then you had Orion picking up the rights for that. So they only got the rights for all the new characters that were introduced in Silence of the Lambs. But here's the thing. Hannibal Lecter, who appears in Silence of the Lambs, was introduced in Red Dragon, meaning that the Dino De Laurentiis Corporation already had the rights for him and perpetuity, meaning that Orion, they only got the rights for Clarice Starling and for Buffalo Bill, because they were the ones who were introduced in Silence of the Lambs. But however, so how was Hannibal Lecter in the movie? Well, that was Dino De Laurentiis doing them a favor. He gave them a loan for Hannibal Lecter. He was only there on license.
Wow.
But the license situation is such that
that's why
that's why,
yeah.
Was
it Manhunter that Brian Cox first played?
Yes, that was
that's the Dino De Laurentiis. Yes, that's a Dino De Laurentiis movie.
They did Red Dragon. That's why there was such a big fucking legal battle over it. The whole deal, and De Laurentiis ended up being involved in Red Dragon because of that whole thing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And now Dino De Laurentiis, he's not there anymore to give away the Hannibal Lecter license. So basically, then the Hannibal series starring Mads Mikkelsen, that was made under the original Red Dragon license, but that couldn't use Clarice Starling or Buffalo Bill, because they belong to the Silence of the Lambs contract, which CBS had through some bullcrap reason. And so this Clarice Starling series, that is then made on that Silence of the Lambs license, so it can't have Hannibal Lecter because he's not part of that contract.
There's a
have
bigger.
We had any trailers for Clarice?
Yes, there's a trailer out. It sucks.
And we have read and we have the script. It sucks to high heavens.
In the trailer, have they tried to hint that I know Hannibal's not going to be in it, but in the trailer, have they tried to misrepresent that there may be a Hannibal?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Not so much that Hannibal's there, but it's a direct sequel to Silence of the Lambs, so there's flashbacks to shit in the trailer from Silence of the Lambs.
It gets better. It gets better. You know the story? It's an Baxter story.
That part. Yeah, it's an anti-vaxxer story. But there's a bigger connection. Yeah, there's a bigger connection here.
How does that work?
Yeah,
there's a bigger connection
from Hannibal Lecter to anti-vaxxing.
And you realize with Star Trek, because Brian Fuller,
there's giant mushroom
producer of Hannibal, he was originally attached to Discovery until Kurtzman came in and took over. Now, there's a lot of, we're trying to figure out exactly what happened there, the legal wrangling, what went down, but we can't specifically pin it yet on anything confirmed anyway. But after that, that's when he was working on Hannibal. He was in the process, like Andre was saying, of talking to MGM, which owns Orion, to getting the rights to Clarice and Buffalo Bill so they could go move on to the Silence of the Lambs story with their Hannibal. And they were in the process of negotiating that until all of a sudden the negotiations stopped. And from Fuller's side, he had no idea what was going on. Next thing you know, they announced Alex Kurtzman is producing a Clarice series.
Jesus.
Wow.
Well, so we've got one more guest joining us today, ladies and gents. This is the Round Table Live. We're adding more nights to this round table. Welcome, Sir Script.
There he is.
Good morning.
Greetings. Oh, have we got the talk for you? I'm sure you've been listening. And Script Doctor, of course, you've read the Clarice script, and I know your feelings of it. But share your feelings.
Oh, I've been living with this script for a little over a year now. When I read it, it was like the biggest missed opportunity and also a complete misunderstanding of what you could do with this franchise if you want to do a follow-up procedural. Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. Like the EW article, like that's the first thing that when I woke up and after I did my morning Constitution stuff, the details, and I check my email, I see, oh, you have to check out this EW article. And then Entertainment Weekly, I read it, and it's like, yeah, this is all the stuff that I had issues with the The pilot script, we brought it up on Midnight's Edge last year a few times.
Yeah, we actually did a video going through the story of the pilot that we're about to see now.
I think me and Tom were both really, really shocked by this. Conkle, how do you go? How is it an anti-vax story? Please tell me.
I think it's anti-big pharma, really, actually.
So how?
So even
how does that work?
The killer is like directing. I can't remember now. How does it go? Script, because the killer.
Okay, this is a convoluted plot.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Settle in, ladies and gents. Settle in.
Okay, so there is a headache medication that women have been taking while they were pregnant, which they suspect is resulting in why their children are autistic, and there's no direct correlation to it. But I mean, it's just a coincidence at this moment. And what the pilot tries to get across is that either there's an activist group that's against this pharmaceutical company that is killing the mothers of these autistic children to try and get attention on the pharmaceutical company of poisoning these women, or there's a guy that's doing this, and an activist group is trying to connect them together to expose this pharmaceutical company, because it's not really anti-vaccination. It's just it's using a parallel of what happened in the mid 90s when that hack doctor claimed there's a correlation to that and couldn't prove it. And I believe he was from the UK, which is even more embarrassing because in the 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, the UK was actually caught in the forefront of medical science.
The only thing I remember from the script is there's like a stand-in for Hannibal. He's not exactly a Hannibal, but he's like a Hannibal. He's a guy they catch. He's a guy they catch.
No, he's a stand-in for like the sequel to Buffalo Bill.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, there's like
information possibly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's anyway.
Is he like a mad pharmacist of some kind? They go and
no, he's an assassin. He's a hired gun. He's a hired gun.
Okay.
And there's like a showdown in a I guess in a house where he's pretending to be the boyfriend of the woman that lives there but isn't. Like it's like in the midst of an assassination attempt where
and the setup at the beginning's weird too. I remember because like at the end of where it was at the end of the movie compared to where she was in the beginning of the script too was weird. What was that like? Because didn't she jump like from being what was it script? There was something weird because it was like she was like world famous now for
she was world famous. She's dealing with a psychiatrist who for some reason they think that Hannibal was originally Clarice's psychiatrist, which she wasn't. She was in a battle of wits with him in the movie. Like he's trying to analyze her and she's trying to put up walls and give and take in order to help her figure out who and where Buffalo Bill is. But no, she's recruited by the woman's so like there's I can't remember her name, but the woman in Silence of the Lambs who's in the pit, her mother is a politician who has now become the attorney general and is on a committee where she's head of the VICAP, which they don't even get that right because VICAP is a kind of like an NSA type of thing of the FBI, but they make it more like some type of specific to serial killers in Washington.
They cannot do simple Google searches. Kurtzman, man, just Google.
They don't even.
And also Laura Lumet. Is it Laura Lumet? Yeah. No, Jennifer Lumet. Ah, geez, my mind. I've literally been awake for like 34 minutes, so my mind's a little mush right now.
No, so you read the review though, right?
I read the review.
It's
which
like
was
fucking
beautiful.
Doomcock wrote it. Did you get to that bit where they just rip Kurtzman a new fucking asshole?
That whole paragraph about how four franchises a decade. I'm like, that's even too much. Like, if you screw up one established good franchise, you should kind of be in franchise jail for, however many years.
Myself.
People are upset, but listen, mistakes can be made, and if you don't admit the mistake, then you don't really get a second chance with an IP. That's kind of like the way it ethically, that's how it should work. But ethics in Hollywood are like oil and water.
But also script. You and I we've talked about this because we're actually talking about a script outside of this that we were talking about. But we had this conversation briefly. isn't it interesting when you take something where the pivotal moment in a character's development, say, i.e., Clarice meeting Hannibal, is really the most interesting thing that's going to happen to her in the lifespan of that character. The idea of franchising it only makes sense if somehow there's a bigger thing that she does, or something that changes her so much that she becomes this amazing character. But to actually take something that's the biggest thing that happens and then go, let's do a lot of things that are a lot less interesting after that. It's a bit like,
just so dumb.
Yeah, it's like Casablanca, and they're walking off onto the they're going off onto the plains
now as well.
Yeah, and then we follow the pilot for the next,
Yeah, we follow. Remember the pilot at the end of Casablanca? What happened with him? Did he take Rick somewhere? And it's like, who cares?
What happened to the trolley girl?
Exactly.
Did she get a coffee? Like what?
That's the problem. Clarice is so tied to Hannibal. Like whether you like the sequel after that or not, it's still canon.
Still that, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and those two have that kind, and that's the thing is, I mean, you can't. They work so well. That's the whole point. That's the whole dynamic. Once you take
dynamic of that,
once you take Hannibal out of the equation, it's just a cop.
You kind of
so bad.
There is a direction you can go with this, where you pretty much take Silence of the Lambs as an inciting incident to Clarice's career in the FBI, where instead of her now investigating in the same manner with which we saw in Silence of the Lambs, she is now doing what Ted Bundy was hoping someone would do for him before he was executed, which is being analyzed and having their knowledge and understanding of the I guess business of serial killing explored. You could do that with Clarice, where she basically is psychologically evaluating various serial killers, trying to form some type of program, if you will, of how to understand and capture like a model. Yeah, existing model.
Mindhunter. We've seen it. It's Mindhunter.
Yeah,
It's done better.
you could do it in that way.
Profiler too. That's exactly the same thing.
Because it's all about the exchange between. It's a battle of wits. Clarice is a battle of wits, not an actual investigation. It's all about her trying to outwit this crazy serial killer that is doing something nefarious while still in jail. Like they have a plan or some sort of long game that they're playing, and she's trying to figure that out, get inside their heads, and at the same time she consults on maybe a passive murder case, but she's never in the mix of it because it's all about the psychological aspect. And that's kind of what I enjoyed about Hannibal as a series, which was way more about the psychological than it was about the gruesome violence.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason Hannibal worked is we didn't see the apex of what his character did. We saw him after he was locked up.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's an interesting story. How do you have a super intelligent serial killer who does this, who's very erudite, and how does he get there? But with her, interfacing with him was literally the most interesting thing that happened.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes.
And as we go forward from it, unless she's going to use that knowledge and she's going to become a serial killer and then try and catch herself, which would be a more interesting show. There's no story after this. It's another procedural with a character that happened to have met a serial killer.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just another cop show.
Yep.
Clarice versus Angela Lansbury. Who's going to make the most murders?
I would pay to see Clarice take on Angela Lansbury if she has like the cage on her face. Yeah.
Well, speaking of other shows that I guess may not have much of a point now, and that's dependent where you sit on it, but Disney Plus is making a Black Panther TV series without Black Panther, and Ryan Coogler is in charge. Ryan Coogler is a singular storyteller whose vision and range have made him one of the standout filmmakers of his generation. With Black Panther, Ryan brought a groundbreaking story and iconic characters to life in a real, meaning and memorable way. I think it's meaningful. Sorry, I chopped up some of the words. Creating a watershed cultural moment. Disagree. We're thrilled to strengthen our relationship and look forward to telling more great stories with Ryan and his team. It's an honor to be partnering with the Walt Disney Company, added Coogler. Working with them on Black Panther was a dream come true. As avid consumers of television, we couldn't be happier to be launching our television business with Bob Iger, Dana Walden, and all the amazing studios under the Disney umbrella. We look forward to learning, growing, and building a relationship with audiences all over the world through Disney platforms. And there's more. We are especially excited that we'll be taking our first leap with Kevin Feige, Louis Despacito, Victoria Alonso, and their partners at Marvel Studios, where we'll be working closely with them on select MCU shows for Disney+. We're already in the mix on some projects that we can't wait to share. And that's Ryan Coogler on behalf of Proximity Media. But they're doing a Black Panther spin-off series and apparently other things as well. Thoughts?
I guess I'll just say this. I'm the one that has always been against bringing the character back.
Well, they're not. They've already confirmed they're not.
Yeah, I'm just even trying to continue that world beyond it. I mean, just let it go. You can maybe bring the sister in later down the road, but this is too soon. I'm not liking it. Yeah. I'm not liking the feel of it.
You're right, Tom, and to build on that if I can, isn't this a bit like doing Metropolis the series about an accountant who never meets Superman? I mean,
yeah.
At some point, if Black Panther's not in it, you're doing a Sims. You're doing like, here's a simulation of what it would be like to live in Wakanda, and it's like, oh well, off to work today, didn't see Black Panther again. It's like how it's hidden. It's a hidden insular world. So what is going to happen?
They've also killed. They killed Ulysses Claw as well, and he was a fantastic villain that they killed.
Yeah,
he was.
Well, there was a series, a short-lived television show a few years ago about Gotham, and it had Alan Tudyk in it as the cousin of Bruce Wayne, and it was all about like the fallback of superhero battles, and it was a decent premise, but again, it didn't survive because there was nothing to the show. Yeah. It was supposed to be like a half-hour comedy about superheroes damaging the city, and then this company that Alan Tudyk's character has, it cleans it up, and it's got like an interesting cast of characters who are all trying to create gadgets and devices for people to buy so that they can save themselves from falling debris or Joker gas or something of that nature.
Yeah. Which is a funny idea. I like that. The idea of like cleaning. Who's the two people that clean up the mess after Ultron or something is a funny idea.
See, now that's what I thought. That's what I thought Shield was going to be more about.
Yeah.
But Black
they
Panther
turned into Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I just again, it's sort of like it's like watching a simulation. It's like, oh, it's the Sims version of Wakanda, where we're just watching
National
people
Geographic
go to work.
of Wakanda. Take a look at this beautiful infrastructure.
I mean, look. Ultimately, let's we don't know what it's about, but what we do know is that we're not going to be getting Black Panther, right? So you remove that from the equation. What do you do with a Black Panther spin-off series? Are you just going to be telling the story of some of the other tribes? Well, that's not that interesting, I'm afraid. Like that's not Marvel. That's not. I'm not tuning in to go and look at a bunch of tribes running around. Like I don't care about that. There's plenty of other series that could do that much better. They're not set in the Marvel universe, and they're not just riding off the name. I mean, this is ultimately what it is, isn't it? You're just riding off the name Black Panther. I don't get it. I don't see the point.
Yeah. No, I'm really kind of. I look at it this way: like we've had 4 films now with him. His arc has kind of come full circle. His dad's gone, so like the best thing I feel like they can do for the character is set it up like he's still alive. Don't kill the character. But what you say is now that his dad's gone, he's had to take over all the diplomatic shit, especially now after Infinity War and Endgame. He had to, end being the Black Panther and take on, the role of the king, the actual king, and do all the diplomatic bullshit. And then you just use the footage you have from like Civil War and stuff and just keep rework it in the background. Just say like, so today this happened and they had a bunch of diplomatic meetings. You just see him in the background. He's still there. Yeah. He's still present. You still talk about him, but he's not Black Panther anymore. And then eventually, when it's been long enough, you introduce the idea of Surrey, because they were going to do that anyway.
Yeah, but they've already said that they're not going to bring him back in any way. I'm fairly
I
certain I
know.
read somewhere that they confirmed that.
But that's the thing is, what are you going to do then? Are you going to kill him? If they kill him off camera, that is fucking low. I'm sorry.
How else are you going to kill him?
You just don't kill him. You don't have him. You just have him still be present. He's just not there, you know. And you don't recast him.
I think the problem with the show is it's narratively inert, because let's think about it. Wakanda is protected by the Black Panther. So if anything in any story happens that's big enough with big enough stakes,
why is he not there? It's to say
he doesn't save them. It undercuts him as a hero every single episode. It's like, oh, it's a shame he fell to his death from that building. If only the Black Panther had been here in Wakanda to save him. You know, it's sort of how many episodes can you have where no one gets helped by him?
Yeah.
It's like it's Iron Man.
Well, let's see. Star Trek Discovery had about 30. No one gets help by the hero.
Well, and the whole thing about recasting is I wouldn't care if it was like a money dispute, what have you. When somebody dies like this, though, it's like, okay, what's the tasteful thing to do? To just kind of leave it alone for a while. Wait till the MCU has kind of played out its whole thing, and then redo it again with another actor down the road, maybe. But in its own new version.
Yeah.
But
maybe you have the series and you have the whole thing build to this huge climax. You're like, what's going to happen? And then just somebody in the outfit, you can't see his face, leaps in, solves the problem in the last 2 minutes, and leaps out in every episode. And you're like, well, there, Black Panther helped us, and you never see his face. I mean, it's a ridiculous idea to set something there and not have it be about him. You're right.
But then
just let it go.
But then, if you're not going to set it in Wakanda, what's it about then as well? Like, I mean, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say they don't set it in Wakanda because they set it elsewhere because they think like you do. But then, what's it still going to be about? Like, how's it a Black Panther spin-off?
Yeah.
Well, they could bring alive resurrect Killmonger and put him on a redemption arc, but that's just like low-hanging fruit. Really, you're not going to be doing much.
It's just bad.
You're right. The narrative arc on it is maybe a season. And then
it's funny you mentioned that script because I actually heard a rumor that I didn't put too much wade into, but it did say something about through the multiverse they were going to bring back what was it, Michael B. Jordan who played him.
Yeah, there are rumors about that. Yeah,
and then he was going to come from another multiverse, but his version, he was the Black Panther in that multiverse. Which again, another one where I'm just like,
it's just lazy.
Yeah,
it's MacGuffin. I would just bring them back.
Exactly.
I don't like. I'm not a fan.
Well, I mean, the existence of the multiverse was to correct issues in comic book narrative because people were getting confused with a lot of the stories. It's like, I read this issue of Superman where he's married and has a kid, and I read this episode of Batman where he's married and has a kid, but in this other issue of Batman, he's dating Silver St. Cloud, and it's like, what's going on here? So then, behold, Crises on Infinite Earths.
I just think it'd be very distasteful for Disney, the same company, and I know they're two separate companies within the same company, but I just think it'd be distasteful for one to go, okay, no, we must have Carrie Fisher live and do this cannibalized bullshit in Rise of Skywalker, but then turn around and say, oh no, we're going to never use that version. We're just going to have him die off screen. Like, that's just to me distasteful. I don't
True.
I don't like that.
We had a super chat real quick, so got to cover it now. It says, hello guys, sorry joined late. Can you briefly recap the hot news for me? What's new about Matrix and how are you feeling about it? Will it be a crap? Well, maybe.
Everybody's going to be played by Muppets now.
No, so the news is that just real quick, and as well for you, Script, to get your opinion on it. Is that the title leaked and it's Matrix Resurrection. That was the news. And obviously we kind of spoke about titles, how it works into the story. It's pretty obvious because characters are resurrected, apparently Trinity and Neo.
Yeah. Well, at least we already know what the porn title is going to be.
Well, I'm surprised it wasn't called Matrix Recompiled because that's more programming.
I just thought it'd be reboot.
We said reboot.
Rebooted. So what do you think of the title there, Script?
Okay. I mean, it's a title. It doesn't say much. I always felt it kind of odd that there were sequels originally to The Matrix because it didn't really presuppose a sequel.
Yeah, that's what we said, to be honest. It'd be like a sequel to Dark City. right? Everyone's seen Dark City.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
Fantastic movie.
One of my
Beautiful.
favorites.
One of mine. Absolutely love that film. It'd be like a sequel to that. You'd just be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why?
Like, what are you doing?
they did it already. Like Dark City itself, it feels like it's its own sequel in the same time. What they do.
Yeah. So basically, that's the news about the Matrix. I personally think that there's a lot of good stuff going for it, but I think that there's also a lot of bad stuff going for it. I'm very much 50-50 at the moment. I'm not sure about any of you guys. Where do you sit on the fence for your prospects on Matrix Resurrection?
Well,
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I think it was like 2008 or 2009 when there was talks about the Matrix and the Wachowskis and all their plans, and apparently the rumor that I heard is that after they finished the Matrix, they had a plan for 6 sequels, and and apparently they weren't allowed to do all 6, so they had to condense that down into the 2 that they did, and that's why the franchise kind of died after the Revolutions, and I was like, oh, okay, and the lesson I was supposed to be being told by this rumor is like, don't be married to your plans, because if they have to be rewritten, they're going to end up like the 2 Matrix sequels.
Jesus.
I don't know. It would need to be clever. It needs to be a snapshot of where we are now. I mean, look how far things have changed with social media and computers and sophistication, and our link to them philosophically has changed even from 1999. Or it needs a great hook. Like, I mean, if the Matrix 4 opened with John Wick waking up, realizing that the Wick films are a Matrix that he's in, and then he leaps out of that into another film, now that would be an amazing, spin on things and genre and what you do. They have to have a new look at where we are with our relationship to not only just, are we living in a Matrix, but what is our relationship to each other now in society, where information is traveling without, untethered from morality, untethered from social, any constructs at all. You could make an interesting film if you just went, okay, the other 3 don't exist. If I was making a Matrix film now with the world the way it is now, what would it be? That would be my approach.
Some of the laws that they created of that universe don't work now.
No.
Like why would you? There's I mean, broadband, for instance, fiber optics. Like, I mean, there's so much.
None of that.
Well, they're being integrated into the Matrix world. But here's the other part too. You have a Matrix within a Matrix that you can play on with social media. We have people that are in rooms on their phones talking to people within the rooms instead of actual interaction. And the whole concept of the Matrix was to have that real interaction, even though you're not really there with them. Yeah, so you have this cool parallel. And on top of that, the other part, like the one thing that really threw me off around the first Matrix, but I ignored it because I was enjoying the film, is they need solar power, but they don't have it, so they don't even bother with nuclear power, or don't have calculations to figure out nuclear fission. They don't build a giant space elevator or tether to solar panels outside of the Earth's atmosphere, because they have all these resources and hover technology, and like there's all this alternative means of power that don't require them to have human slaves, yet they choose the more difficult route, which is human slaves in a Matrix for their own self-preservation. It's like an AI is not capable of leaving the planet Earth in order to get other power, explore, and do other things. Like, I didn't understand, aside from it wanting to be alive, what else is there? Because for human beings, for ourselves, it's not good enough for us to be alive. We have to experience life. I mean, we're right now in isolation, and we're doing anything we can to have human interaction, to the point where we're on internet talking to people on phones and StreamYards and Skype and Zoom, because we demand that interaction, because it gives us something to do with life. If we didn't have it, what would be the point in living? And for an AI such as the one that is in the Matrix, I always ask myself that, like, okay, it wants to be alive, but what is it doing with its life? And we never get that answer. And I think that would be the greatest question to explore if you're going to do another Matrix film, is the desire for your enemy, to why it needs to exist, why it feels it needs to exist.
Yeah. Well, and also, wouldn't it be? It would be interesting to just take it and go, what if we make a more malevolent Matrix, but one that is malevolent in a way that it's very, very close to where we are right now, to the point where you begin to blur the lines and make the audience feel that they're living in a Matrix, and then actually turn the idea that we are social beings on its head through the artificiality of creating interactions that never exist. You could really create a movie that just spirals with the narrative and makes you feel like you're on a journey. And I think it would be successful if you walked out of that film and you questioned the senses that you were even taking in as you walked out of the movie. That would be an interesting film.
Yeah. A film, a Matrix film could make you walk out of a movie theater, look at your phone, and want to immediately put it back in your pocket, because the concept of not wanting to go on social media and become immersed in that Matrix, that would be a good and successful Matrix film.
Yeah, but I agree. I think someone should do that. I think that's a terrific idea.
Yeah, I don't think that's what we're going to get though. But
but it could be.
Yeah, but that sort of brings you up to speed, Bird Boy, the guy who did the super chat. We've got another one here from Jack, and says, "Wonder if this new Black Panther spin-off will bring back Black Panther in CGI, like they did with Luke in The Mandalorian, to create moment again."
Not likely.
I don't think so, and I say that because I'm sure I could find it, but I'm fairly certain they've confirmed they won't bring him back. I read it somewhere. I don't know if anyone else has read that and can confirm.
Yeah, they said something to that effect.
You know what? I don't trust that for a second, because they said the exact same thing about Leia and Rise of Skywalker, and look what happened. So I don't believe that for 1 second.
Well,
they said something to that end. If they need to bring him back, but with a double, like to do him like Leia in the Rogue One, or like Tarkin in Rogue One, they're going to do it. They're going to find a way.
They don't even have to do
for
that.
a second that they won't.
All they have to do is put a guy in a suit and then have a voice sound-alike actor to speak, and he never takes off his mask.
There's that too, but it all depends on what deal they made with him originally. He could have signed his rights away, and we don't even know it.
I think they probably would have. It's something which I would imagine that they would have done.
But then again, it makes you wonder, if that's the case, then why didn't they use their likenesses for the fucking video game? Because that was one thing.
But it's not them that made it. The others would have to.
But that's a third party.
For the license.
Third party. That's not
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why. That's why they just made new things. They're like, fucking change this up. Like, god damn, because they have to pay for it. Quite a lot of money. But, yeah.
I don't know. I think the character has run its course, and I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I mean, I wasn't particularly enamored with the movie anyway. It was fine. I wasn't one of these people that shouted about it. Some of the CGI was bloody wonky all over the place. It was fine. It wasn't this, this thing from Kevin Feige, a cultural revolution or something like that. Yeah. He said. I mean, it wasn't that. It was because people it was amazing because people were like, it's the first black superhero.
Like Blade.
What about Blade?
But it was the first.
Meteor Man. Everybody forgets Meteor Man.
Okay, you could put it like this: it was the first non-R rated.
But come on,
black-led comic book movie besides Spawn, I suppose.
That is so. It's the level of pedantism for that as something to hype it up.
I got it.
It is the first. It's the same nonsense that they were saying about.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is the only thing I can say.
Broke this record is mate, I could break a record if I really tried. It's not that impressive. It's not that impressive.
I can't
find something that no one else has done.
I'm not black, so I can't say what it meant to black people. So that I'm not gonna.
Probably for the better.
Yeah, it was $1 billion movie. That's.
I wonder why.
Well, it was.
Black Panther made a heck of an impact in Civil War. So that's
what I'm saying. Regardless, it was a big deal for a lot of different reasons. So
you say that, but wasn't Captain Marvel $1 billion movie as well?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go then. $1 billion is definitely not a sign of good quality, is it? Let's be honest.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
box
but-
office has never been a pure sign of like the quality of the film.
Exactly.
Definitely the popularity of it, or whatever. And we like to lean onto that because it helps us fund
True.
other films.
No, but I would also argue that Black Panther did feel at least like a bigger cultural milestone than Captain Marvel did, because Wonder Woman already beat him to the punch there.
Maybe, I don't know. Again, I think maybe it's geographical, because in the UK it was. I didn't see it as this big thing, but then we
Let's
don't.
put it this way, there was a point where you could not say one bad thing about Black Panther without worrying about being like
absolutely.
raked over the fucking coals.
Oh,
I mean, and
absolutely.
like I've said, it's not in my top of the films, it's in my bottom of the films, but it's not the worst. Like, again, I say he was better utilized in like Civil War and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good in Civil War, but then you ask yourself as well, like how much of its success is because people felt coerced into it, socially coerced into it. I mean, that's definitely an argument, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of
Could
marketing.
But at the same time, it also didn't do nearly the damage Captain Marvel did either. So
Yeah, people still liked Black Panther after
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Like I
Ryan's a
mean,
good filmmaker. He actually is a very talented guy.
yeah, Ryan Coogler's not a bad filmmaker. So I mean, the
He
movie
was just
itself is not horrible. It suffers from shitty CGI, and yeah, they kill the bad guys they shouldn't.
That's Marvel Studios on the CGI part. That's not him, because we do
Yeah.
know that
absolutely.
those things are pre-vised and pre-done before he even gets his paws
The
on
movie
that.
itself, though, is palatable enough. I mean, I've watched it a few times. I mean,
It's got a great father-son story arc, which like you have to be a really bad movie for me not to tear up at a father-son story arc, and I liked that little message between the two of them. That did hit me in the feels there. I mean, you know, a dad regretful of some of his past decisions, his son trying to right the wrongs of the sins of his own father, and be the man that is a better man than his father was, and his father wanting that for him. Like those are great human story elements. I love seeing stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
that's
I
the
mean,
thing. I'd like to see the video sales to compare Black Panther to fucking Captain Marvel. I guarantee you Captain Marvel ain't sold a patch on Black Panther's fucking Blu-ray
True.
sale. That's what I'm
that is
thinking.
true.
Yeah, Captain Marvel's the only Blu-ray or DVD disc I never bought.
I'm willing. That's a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
don't have
interesting
that
to see
either.
where they go.
That's where I draw the line.
Yep.
Yeah, be interesting to see where they go. Whether they, I mean, you know, no matter how good a storyteller and filmmaker Coogler is, there is a big hole that he needs to write himself out of with the unfortunate passing of Boseman. So it's tricky. And as a result of that, I feel like, why are you even trying to tackle it? Like, just kind of just leave it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just seems odd. Definitely seems odd.
To double down on it even seems odder. Like, okay, when we're going to do a TV show and we're going to do that. And it's sort of like, well, you know, it's like doing the first Bond films and then Sean Connery dies and you're like, well, let's just keep going. What else is going on? You know?
Yeah.
Sort of, he worked well in the role, and he meant it. He embodied it. And so it's a victim of its own, like, everyone sees him as that, and it worked. And maybe the apex of his story was part of the whole Marvel phase that we've seen, and maybe there's really not more to do, you know, with that.
Well, they were obviously building for the female Black Panther.
Yeah.
We knew that anyway.
The thing is, like, you don't have to really do anything with him. Every appearance that he's made as Black Panther in the MCU has been great. So if you leave it at that, he's got a pretty much an almost immaculate legacy within the franchise. If the moment you touch it, you start to dirty it. And
yeah,
that's true.
But that's what they're doing, though, isn't it? I mean,
that's
Black
kind of where I'm
spin-off
coming
is
from.
what it is.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like, at this point, leave it the fuck alone. I mean, you can bring in other characters from the universe, but you just have it, like I said, like, he retired from being Black Panther. He's off doing diplomatic things. You can have people just bring him up, mention him, even if you don't show him. You know, you can say, oh yeah, he's at this summit meeting in, you know, wherever this, you know, he just, you know, whatever. Because there's nothing you can come up with that's believable for us to say, okay, yeah, he died, because he's Black Panther. He shouldn't be vulnerable to anything.
Right.
So you can't.
Yeah, you wouldn't write that. You wouldn't. You're right. You wouldn't just
You
go,
have this
let's
other-
kill him off if the actor was alive. Yeah.
Yeah. You have this other option too. You could just say that Black Panther got married, had a kid, decided to become a father, gave his mantle to his sister, and then the mother, the queen, is kind of helped guiding her on there, and he's basically being the king, the diplomat, and the father. And so you actually have set up this legacy where there is maybe either another son he has, or maybe he has twins, a boy and a girl, whatever. And then you could say, okay, in 15 years or so, we can do that Black Panther coming into his own and sort of restart the story in the same way. And maybe if you're lucky, play out that intention, like the son of T'Challa or the daughter of T'Challa, like the legacy of Black Panther, and Shuri can get her story.
You wouldn't even have to wait 15 years, because, like, remember, 5 years have passed already in the blip.
Yeah, you could have it to where it was a situation where we didn't even know until now.
That happened before. That happened before Infinity War. Like he got married. His wife is pregnant, and this is his last adventure as Black Panther. And then when he comes back, he has a 5-year-old child, and he's decided, I'm going to make up for lost time, be a king and a diplomat. And sure, you can take on the role of Black Panther. There's nothing that says you can't. And now she has to get used to being a physical challenge as well as from her intellectual side of things. And it's her mother, the queen, who's a beautiful actress, still alive, who could help be her on a mentor figure. And you've got that good relationship dynamic. And I mean, you can get away with it a little bit, or at least ask a little bit more without having to make it come across as sidelighting the character, because there's nothing wrong with a hero saying, you know what, I can have a successor because I want to be involved with my own child's life. I want to be a hero for him.
Isn't that kind of what his dad did anyway? I mean, that was kind of initially the idea, was like his dad used to be Black Panther too, but eventually he had to, quit being involved.
Yeah. You could mirror that wonderful story and just say it's a legacy that goes on, and tell a new story with interesting characters and move on. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I don't know. It will be interesting to see what they do and where they go. A lot of people that are just joining now, FYI, Matrix title, keep revisiting it because it was the main part of the title of this video, but it's Matrix Resurrection. Take from that what you will. We know that Trinity and Neo.
Now I can't get over the whole idea of somebody being like the chick being Neo in the Matrix.
Well, no, that's just me guessing. It's just me
guessing what?
It.
No. Here's the seriously, because now that I have that in my head,
do you think it's good?
No. Not that I like it. It's just I can see now how they may have reworked this somehow. Okay. Like the Matrix reset itself, but that's the whole thing.
Carrie-Anne Moss is now the one.
She's not the one. She's Morpheus.
Oh,
she's the Morpheus character, and Neo is Neo, but it's a chick on the outside, but it's Keanu Reeves on the inside the Matrix. Yeah,
they're gonna do like a quantum leap thing where every time he looks in the mirror, he's got a woman looking back at him.
It's just whatever did happen. They'll come up with some reason for it. I think you're right. Because how else are they going to do this?
The actress is Jessica Henwick.
Okay,
so good actress. I'm fairly certain she was in Iron Fist.
Dave Bushti wins. Matrix H2O.
Hey, why is that?
Oh, because of the whole Halloween H2O joke.
Oh, right, yeah.
20 years later, yeah.
I think it's Jessica Henwick that is the new sort of Neo type character.
Oh, okay. And she's in Godzilla versus Kong, right?
Is she? No, I don't think so.
No?
Unless I'm wrong.
No, she was the only good part of Iron Fist. I remember that.
But I thought she was in Godzilla versus Kong. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, Isa Gonzalez is in.
Are you thinking of Millie Bobby Brown, Tom?
Oh, maybe.
The one from Stranger Things, who was in the last Kong, last Godzilla. I mean,
yeah. For some reason, I thought she might have been in the upcoming Godzilla versus Kong, but I might be wrong.
I'm just trying to find I'm trying to find the.
She is. She is in it.
I was going to say, now that you
Where is
say
it?
that, there is that other actress, and I'm trying to think. You could be right. I was just going to say
found
that.
her. Yeah. she
I
is.
forgot all about that other person in the trailer that I didn't know who she was.
That is her. So, yeah. Jessica Henwick.
Yeah.
I don't know what she plays, but Zhang Zi is in that? Wow, that's great. They have a really good cast, actually, in the Godzilla versus Kong movie.
Oh, she was in Love and Monsters. I remember reading that script. That was a decent script.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I should check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. I found it. So Jessica Henwick. She performed quite strongly during the audition process, and she's playing a female-like Neo character.
Interesting.
So is she the other one then?
Yeah, the other one. Yeah,
There is another.
She's the one.
Considering the transition of both Wachowskis, I would not be surprised if it was a woman inside a man coming out doing all this.
Yeah, well, no, you're quite
That's
right.
why I was like saying, I can see this, how they put it together.
You write about what you know, and maybe it'll be something. I don't know.
True. Well, anyway, guys, we've been streaming now for about 2 hours. Need to call it a day now. I know Andre tends to want to round out about this time. I myself, it's quite late for me here as well. But thank you to my esteemed guests. Where can everyone find you?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to interlope. And I'm a huge fan. I watch your reviews and your commentary all the time. And congratulations on the film coming out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I genuinely appreciate that. It was
Andre, Tom, looking forward to being on Midnight Edge again. And Script, I'm sure we'll talk about scripts very soon.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we'll have you about in a week and a half, I think, on the morning show.
Look forward to having you as always. It's always a pleasure when Mr. Conkle joins us for our morning shows that you also can catch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, only much earlier at 6 p.m. Central European Time. That's 5 p.m. UK time and 9 a.m. LA time.
Yes, you guys always have terrific discussions on those. I encourage everyone to take a look.
Yes, absolutely, and I actually drop in on there very occasionally as well.
Yes.
So Andre and Tom both are from Midnight's Edge. Script Doctor, you have a YouTube channel, don't you, good sir?
Yes, I do. I have a YouTube channel where I review and break down various TV episodes and film. I'm currently on a hiatus right now because I've been writing up a storm for the last month and a bit, and I also have deadlines next Friday to meet. So my content is delayed, but once I finish that, I'll get back into the swing of things. But you can check me out at youtube.com/scriptdoctor, and if you enjoy what I have up there already, give me a subscribe. Sure.
Perfect. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Again, this is the Roundtable live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's 9 p.m. GMT, and that's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I've got it right. Took me a little while to wrap my head around that. So please do set a reminder, because YouTube won't send out notifications. That's how they are. They suck. But thank you so much for joining me. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. H Reviews. Please do. I tweet very occasionally, and I also share these streams out there. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Take care. Have